to be with us, Neon Tiger, and keep sending your questions through. Also, let us know where you're from, when you started watching. It's great to know a little bit more about you guys, especially the first time we make contact with you, and this is the first time I am chatting with you. It was quite a nice sighting of mothers with their young lambs, and Cindy on YouTube would like to know how many lambs can a female impala give birth to. It's most commonly one per season, but occasionally, and it's very rare, Archer, you will get twins. And that's with all the animals. The elephants can give birth to twins occasionally, impala can, but most often they give birth just to one young. Who's watching on YouTube, and if you'd like to know what the gestation period is for impala, it's about 240 days, if I'm not mistaken, which is about 6 or 7 months. And generally they'll start their rutting period, where the males will vie for mating rights with the females in about March. So it's January, February, March, April, May, June, no, it's May. I always get confused. It's in May, and it's often the first full moon in May. So it's May, June, July, August, September, October, November. 6-7 months is when they give birth, late November. You'd think by this stage of my life I would kind of know the difference between March and May, but because they both start with M, they confuse me. Okay, come on animals. It's nice cool weather, and we would be highly entertained by any predators hunting in this cool weather, making the most of favorable conditions. Because I am heading off tomorrow, I'd like to try and get my leopard fix before I'm away. So it'll be a nice long leave for me. Heading off tomorrow and only back on the 12th of January. Thoroughly looking forward to it. But of course, a little bit sad to be leaving you guys and to be leaving the beautiful wilderness area we get to explore. Well, enough about my plans to head off, and why don't you go across to Brent to get an update on what he thinks the wild dog have got up to. Why are these impala running? I'm still on the game drive every second. Scott.
Go ahead.
Scott, I just got impala careering through the block on Twin Dams, close to Warburg's Eagle, heading towards Vuyatela at high speed.
Okay, copy, wonderful. I'll just pass it over in then.
Okay, so when you see it disappearing like that, it's quite often they could be wild dogs around. These might have escaped, so Scott's going to check on that side.
lamb Djuma. So we're going to check carefully around.
Exciting stuff with Brent and those impala that he saw running past him. I'm not sure if you got a glimpse of that, but good prospects. And we've just stumbled upon a breeding herd of buffalo. Not what we were looking for, but some wonderful animals nonetheless. All different shapes and sizes. They're looking very calm and relaxed. No evidence that they've been harassed by lions last night, which is no surprise. The lions have been avoiding us like the plague, and why is hard to say. But at least it means these Cape buffalo get to have a little bit of peace and quiet. 3 blind mice, that's the chin spot batus we can hear calling. Very small little bird. There it goes again. And I'm hoping now that we just stop and enjoy watching these Cape buffalo, that we may hear some useful audio in the surrounding areas, which may lead us closer to some action. You can hear the odd grunt and bellow from these buffalo just chatting with one another. There's a mixture of males, youngsters, females, all shapes and sizes here. Hard to say how many there are. It looks like quite a large herd, but it's very thick, so difficult to gauge how far the herd spreads into this thick bush. To Daryl, and Daryl's interested to know if the correct terminology used for American bison can also be buffalo. Is it a synonymous word that you could use for those two animals? I guess it could be, but I'm not entirely sure. I don't think there's any problem with calling bison and buffalo the same thing. Here we only get the Cape buffalo, or the African buffalo. There's only one species of buffalo you get in Africa throughout Africa. There's no subspecies like you get with giraffe and impala. There's only one kind. So this is the African buffalo. You also get water buffalo in India. Very similar looking, but not quite the same. In terms of size, I'm actually not too sure which is biggest, the Cape buffalo, the water buffalo, or the American bison. But they're all fairly similar looking, at least to me. Of course, there will be a winner in terms of size, but I'm not too sure which one's which. If any of you do know the answer to that, the size order, Cape buffalo, water buffalo, and American bison, it would be wonderful if you could share your knowledge with us. Which is the biggest? is a female looking at us. You can see she's got a hairy middle parting. Interesting question through from Jenny M. It's not a silly question, Jenny. No questions are silly. And it's important that everyone knows that. Jenny would like to know, is there any purpose for the horns of the buffalo being curved as they are? And it's a tricky one to answer, Jenny. Oh, how's this for a funny shot? Jenny, I think obviously as they've evolved over time, it could be that fighting amongst themselves may have been a reason why they have these hooked thorns, but it doesn't make huge sense for the females. The females don't do much fighting. It's the males that will compete with one another for ladies. So the fact that they've both got the same shaped horns means that it's not necessarily for fighting so much, but possibly to defend themselves against predators like lion. And I guess with their anatomy and the kind of shape of their body, the way their horns are structured means that if a lion was to attack them, they could lash out with their head and very effectively gore the lion and flick them into the air. Whereas if the horns were straight, it would require kind of a different maybe movement. I don't know, Jenny, it's a tricky one. I don't know if anyone else has got any theories as to why the horns are shaped as they are, but I can't put my finger on it. It'll be interesting to hear what Brent has to say about this. I'm looking forward to hearing his opinion on the curved horns of a buffalo and why exactly have they evolved like this, and why have some antelope, you know, the females of many different bovids or herbivores necessarily. Some will have horns, some won't. Most of the time it makes sense for the males to have horns because they're doing the majority of the fighting, but for the females, I'm not too sure why they need the horns, because unless they're defending themselves from lion, which they will try and do, there's no major purpose for them. Okay, well, as they head off, I think so are we. And I want to check up to the northwestern corner of Djuma to see what's going on there. It's one area we have not checked yet. Better signal area at the moment. He was getting a bit shaky before he came to me, and he's going to give you an update on what he's been up to.
So we've decided to come check on something. Oh, hello, kudus. Nice female kudu. With a fork-tailed drongo in tow, and it looks like it's eating a little creeper. Yum, 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 if you're a kudu. And she's going to move off, and I'm hoping that the hyenas are in residence at the moment, so we're going to check the den. Andrew, do you see any hyenas yet? Doesn't look like anyone's at home, unfortunately. Oh, I was wrong. There is a female and two babies. Let's go have a look. One got a little bit of a fright as we were driving in and just ran up to the hole. The other is a greedy gut and is still suckling. What that probably means is the greedy gut is a little girl and the scaredy cat's a little boy. But it's almost impossible to tell the difference at that age. Oh my goodness, look at the middle of that forehead. It looks like this hyena got a bomb drop. Oh, Mom's tired of them suckling, it seems. These are so cute, these little guys. Oh, look at this little one. Look at this. Isn't this incredibly special? Yeah, the little one's whining. Listen to that, you can actually hear the suckling. Oh, here comes the next one. You can actually hear them, of them suckling. Tiny little guys, probably just around a month old, maybe a little bit older. Oh, and here comes one of the terrible teens as well, so probably around 4 or 5 months at the moment. Look how cute these little guys are. And you can see so you see how the one on the left seems to be dominating the one on the right. Oh, there's some whining going on now. On the right, a terrible teen is sneaking in. I love this all the greeting movements and displays that hyenas do. Oh, Mom's not impressed. Look at the submissive behavior by the teen or the sub-adult. Very submissive behavior. Oh, you could get in trouble if you go after the little ones. Still a bit too young to play with. He's going to paste, so using the anal gland, pasting on that little stick, and that's how hyenas mark their territory, and you'll find a lot of pasting around the dens. see how that little one scampers off? Makes me think it's probably a male. Oh, keeping away from the sub-adult, and he's about to be chased. There we go. As we look at these tiny little black babies, Mo Khan, who's in Guyana, would like to know, at what age do they start getting their spots? Well, Mo Khan, they start getting their spots quite early. They're probably fully formed, fully changed by about 3 months, 3.5 months. So, sub-adult is moving off to the left, and was moved away from the actual den. Let's hope Mom comes back this side. And you can see how brave the one cub is. It's gone over with her, but the other stays very close to the entrance of the den. Oh, it's gone to follow Mom. I wonder if she's gone to lie down on the other side. Oh, coming back. Let's just try to have a look what's on the other side of this den. And with all the hyena interaction and behavior we've been witnessing recently, it is incredible, and there's of course a lot of guesswork that goes in and trying to read the situations. And hyenas have one of the more complex social structures and hierarchical systems out of all animals out here. So it's always fascinating. You always seem to see something new or different at the den. Okay there, Andrew. We're very lucky to have such active den sites that we do. There we go. Mom has come to lie on the other side. Hello, naughty. Yes, don't look at my tires like that. I can see the look in your eye. So, young hyenas at about this age, what you can call terrible teens, there are tiny little rubber caps that sit on our oil on the tires to keep the oil in the sumps and that. And for some reason, these little hyenas spot them and quite often pull them off. So you got to watch it carefully, and you can see it's very much a chewy age as it's chewing upon this. It looks like a little acacia stick, and you find any sort of stick or branch of a certain height around a hyena den has been chewed by these little guys. also wishes we had a 24-hour cam here at the hyena den. Me too, Paul. It'll be fascinating to see the ongoing behavior and comings and goings of this clan. You can see the little ones now. Mom's got her back to us, so you can just occasionally see ears and the top of the head popping up as they suckle. So the stick is losing the battle. It's been broken into 3 pieces now, and it is still alive. Oh, it's being debarked by a hyena. Normally that is the realm of elephants, debarking trees. Joe, there we go, bark off. Now what? We'll destroy a bit more of the bark. No, back to the main stem. Oh, a different stem. Obviously, it's quite a strong possibility that they're teething slightly at this stage, hence the chewing of a lot of things. Oh yes, you won. So, a warm Safari Live welcome to Micah, who's a relatively new viewer. Excuse me, Micah. Micah would like to know how long hyenas live for. Well, in the wild, most animals do not die of old age, Micah. When they do become a bit weak, they are generally killed by other animals, but like most predators, they're relatively short-lived, and you think around about 10-12 years, and in odd occasions they do get a bit older. Look at that. So Preston, who's only 12 years old and watching in Michigan, would like to know, how did you get to live there? Like, where did you come from? So, well, Preston, I've been very lucky. I've lived in the bush most of my life. I've grown up in safari lodges and safari concessions. So my dad was in the safari business, so that's how I ended up living here, and it's always been my love and passion to follow the wild animals of Africa. Preston's also wondering if we get flies here. Preston, we do. Lots of very nasty little flies. Oh dear. Here comes the rain again. So, oh bless you, Andrew. Oh bless you, Andrew. Andrew, you're getting a funny look. Like, what is that noise from that strange creature on the back of the car? I'm sure the hyenas are enjoying this cool morning. Guys, every time he sees people interfering with nature, stop. Rodrigo, it's a very interesting question. We can chat about it for quite a while. So as you can see, if we look at these hyenas, they are absolutely unperturbed with our presence, and we're not really interfering in their life at all, and we try not to interfere at all. Unfortunately, sometimes you do, but one must also realize that in this day and age, it's not a very nice thing, but nature does need to work for its supper, so to speak. So by going on safaris and watching shows like this, you are providing protection for these animals. It's all the fact the little guys that just popped their heads up. So it's a very fine line, and we generally do not interfere. And you can see the animals are very used to our presence. They're habituated to the vehicles being around, and they completely ignore us. And you can see this mother hyena, if she was worried about those two very young cubs, she would have gone down and sent them down into the den where they'd be protected, and she would have moved off. And quite often they will sleep right next to the vehicles. They will come within a foot of the vehicle, and they don't worry about it. So in a lot of ways, by supporting efforts like this that create awareness and income to the local communities that surround these areas, you are creating protection for these animals. Because if these animals were not able to provide jobs and income to the local communities, this area would fast become cattle and goat farming land. It is a very sad world that we live in, that is the case, but unfortunately that is what the world is today. So Andrew's just fiddling a little bit with the camera, so I apologize about the scratchy noises as he puts the rain cover back on. Cole, who's watching on YouTube, would like to know how large this hyena litter was originally. Well, Cole, very good question. Uh-oh, trouble's up. One of the little babies moves to the other side of the den, and the terrible teen has noticed it. It's popped down the hole. We might get a reaction from Mom. Cole, I'll get to your question in a second. We just want to see what unfolds here, and if there's even the slightest whine from those little guys. Uh-oh. Oh, Mom spotted it, and off the sub-adult goes at high speed, knowing that definitely doesn't want to tangle with Mom. So Cole was wondering how big the original litter was. So Cole, the litter, a hyena litter is generally only 2, very, very rarely 3. And strangely enough, if in the litter you probably find with these little guys here that one will be a male and one be a female. If not, if there's 2 females or 2 males born, something that hyenas cubs practice is a thing called the Cain and Abel syndrome, or siblicide. So within minutes of birth, if there are 2 females, the one baby will kill the other. And the reason for this is that they will be competing for the same social spot in the clan. So that's what I think, just judging from the behavior as well, and it's a male and female. One's more brazen and the other's more retiring. And generally the more brazen will be the females, and the males will be more retiring. Hyenas are the only fully, truly matriarchal society. The females are much bigger than the males. They have high levels of androgen and testosterone. They have pseudo penises and pseudo testes, and they are the dominant. The lowest ranking female of the clan is still higher ranking than the highest ranking male. It looks like the little ones are going under. They finished suckling. And let's see, Mom might call them out again if she feels the need. Otherwise, if she's finished feeding them, she might go find a bush to go sleep under for the day. Well, here we go, little one's up again. See what Mom decides to do. Apart from chase off the sub-adult who's on its way back around at the other side of the den. She almost looks like she's lulling the sub-adult into a false sense of security before chasing. We've got a nice question from Natalia, whose name we don't see asking questions so often, so possibly a new viewer. Natalia, if you are a new viewer, a very warm welcome to a rainy Djuma private game reserve and to a live African safari. Natalia would like to know, are hyenas the same as dogs? They're not, Natalia, at all. Hyenas are hyenas. They are, in fact, more closely related to mongoose than dogs. They are their own family. And even though they do have some dog-like attributes in their looks, but they are not related to dogs. Just want to see what's going on here before we decide whether we should stay or go. I think it might be worth staying a little bit to see what happens. So we got that terrible teen who is chewing on another stick now, and Barbara on Twitter is wondering how old will that sub-adult be before it goes hunting and foraging with the adults. Barbara, I'd say it's already going foraging with the adults. They sometimes go out with the adults as young as 3 months, 3.5 months old. So this one will spend quite a bit of time away from the den with the adults when they're out hunting and scavenging. And here come the latest additions again. Here we've got really interesting behavior about to happen. You can see how the one little cub is hiding behind mom, and the other one is actually approaching closer to the sub-adult. And there we probably got the female on the left and the male behind. The female cubs are just generally a lot braver, and you can see how the male sort of very tentatively comes forward. Although at this age, both of them will be very scared of going too far from mom. And at the slightest little movement, they'll go scurrying back towards mom, and the terrible teen or the sub-adult will get a hiding from the adult female. Look at this. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Watch out. Mom's not going to accept this. There we go. So, the problem is with these sub-adults is they might get a bit boisterous with a very young cub like that, and might actually injure them inadvertently. That's why the mothers are quite protective. Oh, here we go again. You're going to get in trouble, and it wouldn't even be your fault. Isn't this cute? And the little one got stood on in the process by mom and had a nice little whine. And you can see how much braver this little one is than the other, who's staying right at the den entrance. And those branches breaking is that the sub-adult chewing on a stick again. And babies are getting a bath. Or one of them is at least. A good clean. And the other little guy is already chewing at this young age, obviously not taking on as bigger sticks as the sub-adult, but anything that can be chewed will be chewed around the hyena den. So unfortunately the rain is getting heavier, and we've got more heavy rain coming in. James has just let us know, and it's coming in from the south. And as wonderful as this hyena den is, Andrew's camera is starting to get wet through the case. So we're going to start slowly moving our way back towards a camp. Unfortunately this rain has come in. So sorry about that, but we can't control the weather. But hopefully the hyena den will be just as active on the sunset safari. So I'll give you one last look of that ball of cuteness before we move out. So, Rusty is not a vehicle we use often. and sometimes it happens that it works out that the signal that sends you your wonderful picture blocks my immobilizer, so I can't start the car. So we're going to have to power down. While we do that, let's go across to Scotty, see what he's up to.
Shame, poor old Brent and Andrew stuck in the rain and rusty buckets, and it appears like our vehicles are getting ready to take Christmas off. And thankfully Brent's not too far away from camp. We'll be able to go out and tow him now, but it is time to say goodbye. We've braved the elements, tried our best to find some wild dogs or leopards, but no luck. And just going to do one more loop around camp to see if we don't have any luck. Got some answers through on the buffalo question, and the American bison wins. And they get up to 1.2 tons, the American bison, which is remarkable. And Louise is doing her best to feed me through all the stats, but it's not going so well, and I'm not copying what she's saying. But thank you to all of those of you who sent through the stats on the buffalo. The American bison wins, then the Cape buffalo, then the water buffalo. Thank you very much for those updates. Apologies. American bison, then water buffalo, then Cape buffalo. We got there eventually. And again, thank you for that. I'm going to say goodbye. We need to get these vehicles under wraps. So thank you very, very much for joining in. I am also going to say goodbye for Brent while he tries to get his vehicle started. Thank you for all your contributions. And let's hope the weather clears for the Sunset Safari. Well done to Lou and Nikki in the final control. And thanks, Ted. Great camera work. See you next time.